June 3, 1962. 8:15 p.m. Rouse Restaurant, East Harlem, the place where mob captains ate, where deals were made, where respect was currency. Bumpy Johnson was having dinner with two associates, business discussion, quiet, professional. At a nearby table sat Carmine, the snake Deluca, a Genovese family captain, 41 years old, 15 years in the life, 23 confirmed kills. He was drunk, loud, making a scene, demanding attention. He saw Bumpy, walked over, unsteady, aggressive. Bumpy Johnson, the great Bumpy Johnson, everyone scared of you, everyone respecting you. You know what I think? Bumpy looked up, calm. What do you think, Carmine? Carmine leaned down, face inches from Bumpy's, breath reeking of whiskey. I think you're nothing, just a Harlem nobody who got lucky. You're not a real gangster. You're a pretender. Then he did something unforgivable. He spat directly onto Bumpy's shoes, left a visible stain on the polished leather. The restaurant went silent. Every conversation stopped. Every diner watched, waiting for Bumpy's response, waiting for violence, for a beating, for consequences. Bumpy looked at his shoes, looked at Carmine, and spoke quietly. You should go home now. Carmine laughed. Or what? You gonna cry about it? Bumpy stood up, calmly, pulled out his handkerchief, wiped his shoes, looked at Carmine one more time. Go home. Carmine stumbled away, still laughing, still making noise, left the restaurant, drove away, and Bumpy. He sat back down, finished his meal, paid the bill, left, said nothing else. But everyone who knew Bumpy Johnson recognized that silence, that dangerous, terrifying silence. And they knew. Carmine Deluca had just signed something he didn't understand. 24 hours later, Carmine turned on his car radio, and what he heard made him drive directly to the FBI. This is the story of how disrespect becomes evidence. To understand what happened, you need to understand Carmine Deluca in 1962. He was a mid-level captain, capable, brutal, but not particularly smart. He'd risen through violence, through loyalty to Vito Genovese, through being willing to do jobs others wouldn't. But he'd also made mistakes, said things he shouldn't have said, done things he shouldn't have bragged about, and one of those mistakes happened 3 years earlier. September 1959. Carmine had been involved in a hit. A union organizer named Thomas Brennan. Brennan was causing problems, organizing dock workers, threatening mob control. Carmine got the contract, made it look like a robbery, shot Brennan twice, left him in an alley. The police investigated, found nothing, case went cold. Carmine got paid, got promoted, forgot about it, moved on. Except, 3 days after the hit, in October 1959, Carmine made a mistake. He was drunk, celebrating in his car with two associates, driving through Queens, and he started bragging about the Brennan hit, about how clean it was, about the details, the timing, the execution. Brennan never saw it coming. 2 shots, quick, professional. Guy thought he was meeting someone for coffee. Instead, he got a bullet. The associates laughed, encouraged him, and Carmine kept talking, kept describing, kept confessing to murder in detail while driving his car. What Carmine didn't know? His car had been bugged. 6 months earlier, in April 1959, Bumpy Johnson had started a program, a systematic surveillance operation, not targeting specific crimes, just gathering information, building files, creating leverage for future use. One of Bumpy's associates, a man named Felix, was an electronics expert, trained in the Army, Signal Corps. He knew how to install listening devices, how to hide microphones, how to record conversations. Bumpy gave him a list, 23 names, mid-level mob figures, not bosses, not soldiers, captains, the men who did the actual work, the men who talked too much, who bragged, who felt invincible. Felix's job was simple: bug their cars, not all at once, slowly over months, one at a time. Install hidden microphones, voice-activated recording devices, store the tapes, document everything. April through December 1959, Felix installed devices in 17 cars. Carmine Deluca's 1958 Buick was number 12, installed in August 1959, 1 month before the Brennan hit. And that device recorded everything, every conversation, every phone call made from the car phone, every word spoken while driving. Including, in October 1959, Carmine's drunken confession about murdering Thomas Brennan. Felix delivered the tapes to Bumpy monthly. Dozens of hours of conversations, most mundane, some interesting, a few incriminating. Bumpy didn't listen to everything. He had someone transcribe the important parts, file them, cross-reference them, build a database of information. Carmine's confession about Brennan? That was filed under Murder Unsolved, potential evidence. Bumpy never planned to use it, never planned to send it to police, never planned to expose Carmine. It was just information, just insurance, just leverage for a moment that might never come. But moments have a way of arriving. June 3rd, 1962. Rouse Restaurant. When Carmine spat on Bumpy's shoes, when he publicly disrespected him in front of 40 witnesses, Bumpy made a decision. Not violence, not confrontation, something more psychological, something that would make Carmine understand. Bumpy had been watching, had been listening, had been documenting for 3 years. The next morning, June 4th, Bumpy called Felix. "I need you to do something creative. Carmine Deluca's car, the 1958 Buick. Can you access his radio?" Felix thought about it. "You want me to broadcast something through his car radio? Like override the normal station?" "Exactly. Can you do it?" "Yeah, I'd need to install a secondary transmitter. Override the radio frequency. Broadcast on a loop. He turns on the radio, he hears what I want him to hear instead of music." "How long to install?" "If I can get to his car tonight, 2 hours, he'll never notice. Small device hidden in the dashboard." "Do it," Bumpy said, "and I want him to hear something specific. I'll give you the tape." June 4th, 11:30 p.m. Carmine's Buick was parked outside his mistress's apartment in the Bronx. He visited every Monday night, stayed until 2 a.m. Felix had 3 hours. He picked the lock, opened the door, worked in darkness, installed a small transmitter behind the radio, wired it to override the standard frequency, loaded a tape cartridge, set it to play on loop when the radio turned on. The tape? Carmine's own voice, from October 1959, confessing to the Brennan murder, edited down to 90 seconds, just the confession, just the damning parts. Brennan never saw it coming. 2 shots, quick, professional. I waited in the alley. He showed up right on time. Thought he was safe. Thought he was meeting a friend. Instead, he got me. Bang, bang, clean. Left him there. Made it look like robbery. Cops never figured it out. 90 seconds of Carmine's own voice, admitting to murder, with details only the killer would know. Felix finished the installation, locked the car, disappeared. Nobody saw him. Nobody knew. June 5th, 1962. 7:45 a.m. Carmine left his mistress's apartment, got in his car, started the engine, turned on the radio, expecting music, morning news. Instead, he heard silence, static. Then, his own voice, speaking words he hadn't said in 3 years, words he'd forgotten, words he thought nobody else had heard. Brennan never saw it coming. 2 shots, quick, professional. Carmine hit the radio off button. The voice stopped. He sat there, heart pounding, hands shaking. What the hell was that? A mistake? A radio station playing some weird program? He turned the radio back on, his voice again. Same recording. I waited in the alley. He showed up right on time. Carmine turned it off, tried a different station, same recording, his voice, confessing. He tried every station, a MFM, all playing the same thing, his confession, on a loop. Carmine's mind raced. This wasn't a radio station. This was deliberate. Someone had put this in his car. Someone wanted him to hear it. Someone had recorded him 3 years ago, and now they were playing it back. For him, as a message, he drove, fast, not home, not to his mistress, not to any of his usual spots. He drove to a payphone, called his captain, his boss. "We have a problem. Someone recorded me, talking about Brennan, the 1959 hit. They played it in my car." The captain was silent. Then, "Who recorded you?" "I don't know, but I know who sent the message. Bumpy Johnson. This is about last night, at Rouse. I disrespected him, and now he's showing me. He's got evidence. He's got me on tape confessing to murder." The captain's voice went cold. "You confessed? On tape? To killing Brennan?" "I was drunk 3 years ago. I didn't know anyone was listening. I didn't know the car was bugged." "Does anyone else have the tape?" I don't know, maybe just Bumpy. Maybe he already sent it to the FBI. Maybe they're coming for me right now. The captain made a decision. You need to disappear. Leave New York. Today, go somewhere remote. We'll figure this out. But Carmine wasn't stupid. Not completely. He understood what was happening. Bumpy wasn't going to send the tape to the FBI. Not yet. If he wanted Carmine arrested, the FBI would already be there. No, Bumpy was doing something smarter. He was showing Carmine that he could, that he had the evidence, that Carmine's freedom existed only because Bumpy allowed it. It was psychological torture, the knowledge that someone had proof, that they could destroy you any time, that you were living on borrowed time. And that knowledge? That was worse than arrest. That was worse than prison. That was a lifetime of looking over your shoulder, wondering when the tape would surface, when the FBI would knock, when it would all end. Carmine made a different decision, a decision that shocked everyone. He drove to the FBI field office in Manhattan, walked in at 9:30 a.m., asked to speak to an agent, sat down, and confessed. Everything, the Brennan hit, the details, the contract, the execution, all of it, voluntarily. The FBI agents were confused. Why are you telling us this? Carmine's answer was honest. Because someone has a recording of me confessing, and if they release it, I'm dead. My own people will kill me to keep me quiet, or I go to prison. Either way, I'm done. So I'm getting ahead of it. I'm confessing now. I'm cooperating, and I want witness protection. I want out. I want to disappear, legally. The FBI had questions. Who is the recording? I don't know for sure, but I think Bumpy Johnson. Did he threaten you? Did he demand anything? No, he just played it. In my car, that's all. No threats, no demands. Just showed me he has it. The FBI was intrigued. Evidence of a murder, a confession, a mob captain turning himself in. They processed him, started paperwork. Within 48 hours, Carmine Deluca entered witness protection. New name, new city, new life. Disappeared from New York forever. And the Brennan murder case? Officially solved. Thomas Brennan's family got closure, justice served, not because of police work, because Bumpy Johnson had installed a microphone 3 years earlier and waited for the right moment to use it. But the story spread throughout the 5 families, throughout New York's underworld. Carmine had confessed to the FBI because someone had recorded him, and everyone suspected Bumpy, which meant everyone started wondering. What else had he recorded? What other cars were bugged? What other confessions existed? Paranoia set in. Mob captains stopped talking in their cars, started checking for devices, started suspecting everyone. Some found microphones. Felix had been thorough. 17 cars bugged. Not all of them caught confessions, but all of them captured conversations. All of them made powerful men nervous. The psychological impact was devastating. Not because Bumpy exposed everyone, but because they didn't know if they were recorded, didn't know what he knew, didn't know when he might use it. Years later, in 1970, an FBI agent asked Bumpy about the Deluca case. Did you really have a recording of him confessing? Bumpy smiled. I had 17 recordings of 17 different men. Most were useless, boring conversation, family talk, nothing incriminating. But a few were gold. Carmine was gold, and I never had to send it to you. He did that himself. Because the threat of exposure is more powerful than the exposure itself. Once I played that tape in his car, once he knew I had it, his imagination did the rest. He convinced himself I'd already sent copies to you, that I was about to destroy him. So he destroyed himself first. That's psychology. That's strategy. That's power. The FBI agent had to ask, do you still have the tapes? Bumpy's answer was cryptic. I have information, always have, always will. Whether it's on tape or in memory doesn't matter. What matters is that people know I pay attention, that I document, that I remember. And that if they disrespect me, if they spit on my shoes, if they think I'm powerless, they'll learn otherwise, not through violence, through evidence, through proof of what they've done, through their own words coming back to haunt them. That's the legacy of the confession tape, not the recording itself, but the idea of it. The knowledge that Bumpy Johnson might be listening, might be recording, might be building a file. Carmine Deluca lived the rest of his life in Oklahoma, under a new name, working construction, never involved in crime again. He died in 1989, and on his deathbed, he told his son one thing: never disrespect someone who's smarter than you, never assume they're not paying attention, and never, ever spit on someone's shoes, because they might have been recording you for 3 years, waiting for you to give them a reason. If this story moved you, subscribe. Drop a like if you understand that the most dangerous weapon is evidence. Share this with someone who needs to know that words have consequences, especially recorded words. And in the comments, tell me, if you found out someone had been recording you for 3 years, what would you do? More legendary stories coming next. Don't miss them.